I was in college and I noticed that a guy was following me. I would be like, can you please leave? You're making me very uncomfortable. And these are like literal words. My mission in life is to make you as uncomfortable as possible.
My God.
And yeah.
1 in 3 women have experienced sexual violence. But most safety solutions on the market were designed without them in mind. A 23-year-old decided to change that. Have a listen.
We all have home alarm systems, and none of us has security systems for ourselves when we are on the street. And why not? So right now, more than 10,000 people use FlamAid. On a weekly basis, you get about like 50 cases. We call it incidents because you never know what's happening.
Our guest today is Julieta, founder of FlamAid, a personal safety device that sends your GPS location to emergency contacts and releases a 110 decibel alarm the moment you need it. She was named Forbes 30 Under 30 in Europe in social impact and has already shipped more than 4,000 devices across 11 countries.
What was the easiest mechanism in the world to activate in a panic situation?
Okay.
And I found the hand grenade. So the device that we bring around to protect us should probably be a hand grenade. I believe that women would be the one buying the most. Men are the ones that buy FlamAid the most.
For their personal use or for women within their circle?
That's very interesting because you have the buyer and the user persona, but men buy about 70% of the cases.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I never expected that. Our slogan is fuck fear. So that's what I could say. Fuck fear, do it. Just do it. And if it goes wrong, we will rebuild from there.
This is a space where we sit down with the founders building the companies that you actually want to work for. If you're ready for a career that allows you to stop choosing between money and purpose, you've found your home. Welcome to Reinventing Capitalism.
Okay, so are we ready to start?
I am super ready.
I think you're never not ready. That's the energy that you give me.
Thank you so much. You too.
Okay, so Julieta, you're addressing one of the hardest statistics out there. I've read that 1 in 3 women have experienced physical or sexual violence.
Yes.
How did this data become personal to you?
So I would say it was the other way around. I was not aware of that data until it happened to me. So basically I was in college and I noticed that a guy was following me, and this guy kept following me for like 2-3 months. It became like a full-on stalker. And so that's when I started like to look up online, like, does this happen to other people? Is this something that is only happening to me? And that's when I found out about these statistics as well. And I was like, oh my God, this is such a big issue that we are not addressing. And we are currently protecting our homes. We all have home alarm systems, you know, and none of us has security systems for ourselves when we are on the street. And why not? And so I started investigating about it.
Were you okay? Like, what did this guy do to you?
It was mostly like harassment, I would say. So he would follow me around. He had some mental issues. I found out later about it. I think it was like, well, I don't want to say the mental issue as not to stigmatize people that have that, because besides having a mental issue, he was clearly not a good person.
Okay.
But the guy was he would just wait for me outside of my home, follow me to college. And when I was like out for lunch or dinner with my friends, I don't know how he knew, but he always knew where I was. And he would just like grab a chair and sit next to us. And I would be like, can you please leave? You're making me very uncomfortable. And you would be like, and these are like literal words, my mission in life is to make you as uncomfortable as possible.
My God.
And yeah,
Did you know him, or he was just someone random from the street?
No, he was a neighbor that had moved back home with his parents.
Okay.
So I kind of knew his parents, like that they lived in the area, but I had never really interacted with him. And so I really took a while until I told my parents and my friends about it. And once I did, stories started to come forward. Like a lot of friends said like, oh my God, that happened to me with another guy. Oh my God, that happened to me too. And I realized that it was a bigger problem that needed to be addressed.
Absolutely. So it seems that it was a very emotional problem because it was your own problem, let's say, like your own personal story. How did you move from experiencing that to founding the company?
So at first I just started looking up online Because pepper sprays, I had one of those. And I was like, for some reason, this is not working to me, because every time I see this guy, I freeze and I'm not able to look inside my purse and like grab it and just use it against him. And so I started looking up what was the easiest mechanism in the world to activate in a panic situation.
Okay.
And I found the hand grenade. And then I found that the people that jump from the planes, they actually grab it like that as well. I don't know how to say that in English.
Like when they're parachuting.
Exactly, parachuting. They do the same movement because it's the easiest movement in the world for your brain when you're in a panic situation. So I was like, okay, so the device that we bring around to protect us should probably be a hand grenade. And then I realized that we use sound alarms for our cars, for our bikes. When you have some problem, let's put the sound inside. And also in the home alarm systems, we record what is happening. Let's record too. And then let's also get the GPS data, because in your home, it's always the same address, but we are nomads. We keep moving around. So let's put the GPS. And so basically we morphed the systems from home systems into something that can come with you on the street everywhere.
Wow, you can show it. You can take it.
Yeah.
I think it's the moment to explain
It's
exactly what it does and what it is.
Okay, let me just grab my phone, because I will cancel it pretty quick because it's very loud.
Okay.
So basically, when you're in a panic situation, this is my app. Here you can see if you have battery or not, and then when you touch the button, you can see how many battery you have. So we're on 40%. It's 6 days. We're good.
Okay.
And so if I'm in a panic situation, this normally is on your bag. So it's just as an accessory. And in a panic situation, you just pull.
Oh my God.
And then you have to cancel it from your phone.
From your phone?
Yeah. So the aggressor does not cancel it for you. Even if I close this, it won't stop sounding until I put my code or my Face ID.
It's interesting because when you first turned it on, it felt as if it wasn't strong enough. But then when it kept on going, like just like 3-4 seconds, it's when it starts bothering.
Yes, this is 110 decibels. It is the basic legal limit in all of Europe. And then what we did was also choosing a frequency that is very annoying, because annoying frequencies bring attention.
Yeah.
So the goal is to startle the person that is coming to you, but also bring awareness to what is happening in the situation. This sound works at about 2 streets in a metropolitan area, such as Barcelona.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more annoying than the car sound. And it's been proven successful, but I would love for us to raise the sound. Thing is, it's illegal in Europe.
Yeah, so we can't. How many women use FlamAid today, and what do they do when they turn it on?
So right now, more than 10,000 people use FlamAid.
Okay.
And
on a weekly basis, monthly?
We have more than 10,000 users. On a weekly basis, you get about like 50
alarms.
We call it incidents, because you never know what's happening. But yeah, and actually, I believe that women would be the one buying the most. Men are the ones that buy FlamAid the most.
For their personal use or for women within their circle?
That's very interesting, because you have the buyer and the user persona. So mostly men buy to give to their wives or their daughters. But then we also have the use case of men that just use it by themselves. So it's about 50% of users. You have men and women, but men buy about 70% of the cases.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I never expected that.
And do you have information about what happens to those women? Like, do you know what's or scenes when they use the FlamAid until hopefully they get rid of the aggressor?
Yes. So basically, we get the video and the audio of what is happening. It's totally encrypted. So myself, I wouldn't be able to watch it unless my user lets me watch it.
Okay.
It all goes to the cloud. So you can use that as a user to go to the police and give them proof of what happened. And then it has been used in some trials as well, which has proven very successful. What we do after each activation and each incident is ask the person, hey, are you okay? What happened? And just do like a quick interview to understand the problem and if FlamAid was able to help. Until now, FlamAid has proved successful in each case that it was activated. But we strive to offer people more solutions, because I know that, for example, a domestic violence case, you wouldn't want to draw attention to your aggressor because you're inside the home with him. So I would love for us to also be able to address other systemic problems besides the ones of street violence.
Understood. And you were telling me earlier about all the data that you track. Tell us a bit more about that, because it's super interesting, all the information that you can gather through this device.
Yeah, so actually, one of the new functionalities of FlamAid is that we offer a Google Maps service where the conditional is not the time, it's the safety of the streets. So we have separated all of Spain and Portugal now into green, yellow, and red streets. And it's dynamic, so it changes with the hour. And I will let you know what's the safest path to go from point A to point B. And we generate the data with the activations of our users. So each time someone activates, you have a new dot. And also, we exchange this data with the police on each country. So we give them that data, and we get access to the public data of the criminality. And when you cross-base that data, you get very specific criminality insights.
Wow.
And you are also able to predict what type of criminality will happen tomorrow, which streets are safer, which are not.
Of course.
Yeah.
And these routes, like the red, yellow, green routes, which are the variables that you use to categorize them as such? Is it only this criminality, this criminal behavior, or do you put more variables within the algorithm, let's say, to predict these routes?
It's a very dynamic algorithm that we developed in-house. So basically, you have the criminality data from your users, you have the public data from the police, and we also ask for insights, which is it's called the security feel, how it feels to you. So we ask people on the app, does this street feel safe? Is there light? Are there people? And you also give it a grade. So if the street has no light and no people, it has a lesser grade. If it has light, it gets
So
a
it's also
point up.
user-generated.
Totally.
Oh, so interesting.
Yeah, it's very dynamic. I love that part of the project. And right now we have more than 1 million safe routes going on. So I feel very proud that our team has been able to make people feel safer.
So true, because I've been many times going back home, and literally, like, I've crossed the street because on my side of the street there was no one, on the other side of the street there was, like, whoever.
Exactly. Now you're able to put it on the app.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I would have known, I would have chosen the right path from the start.
There is no right path. The goal for us is to make all the paths feel right to you.
Well,
So that's what we strive for.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to check my app in order to see which street is safer.
In an ideal world.
Exactly. I say that a lot of times, and my investors don't really love that, but it's true. In an ideal world, my FlamAid company would probably go bankrupt because it would not be needed anymore, and that's what we strive for.
Yeah. Which other products do you sell?
So right now we sell the FlamAid, which is the basic grenade. We had a basic model, and now we have the FlamAid Pro that lasts more. It's not as expensive, and it's also lighter. And then we also have kind of like, we call it a condom for drinks.
Okay.
So I was looking for a better word, but that's what we call it. And so you cover your drink with it, and basically it kind of protects it from any spiking or any drug use, So you just cover your cup, and you know that it's protected.
And how do you drink? Through a straw?
It has a little hole for your straw. And then we also have some types of merchandising, and now we are working on our jewelry, smart jewelry, which would tackle the case that we were talking before, for example, domestic violence, or if you're inside a cab and you need help. It's a silence device, so when you pull, it does everything that FlamAid does. It records, and it also sends your GPS data, but it does not make sound. So it's a more discreet use.
Oh, so you essentially are wearing like a small FlamAid in your neck, and if you pull, it will send a signal to FlamAid and to your people of contact.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't emit any sounds.
No sound.
Okay.
It records the situation, the video and the audio, and at the same time it sends your GPS location, but it does not alert the aggressor. So
Smart.
Yeah, it's another use case. I want people to have options and be able to personalize their security.
That's pretty cool. That's
Thank
pretty
you.
cool. Also because you could wear it anywhere. Like if you don't want it to be
charm.
visible, exactly. You put it in your hand, or I don't know.
The only thing that we kept is the pooling mechanism. That's our patented usage.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like it's the most useful way to ask for help.
But if it's the easiest, then we need to keep it.
Exactly. I love it.
You're operating in 12 countries, if I'm correct. Where did that expansion come from? Was it intentional or was it demand-driven?
It was totally demand-driven. And actually, I would say it was a mistake to go into so many different markets, because what happened was that we started selling here in Spain in 2025, and all of a sudden we got a lot of requests from a lot of countries and big bulk orders. And so at first you're very excited about your product and you want people to get your solution. So you sell everywhere and you don't take into account that there's logistics, there's a market investigation that you need to do first. And we lost a lot of money. Grenades were sent to their people, but we lost a lot of money. It was not strategic at all. It was emotional. So right now we are still present on those countries, but we do our marketing-based strategies only in Spain. And the goal is to expand just slowly, successfully, and without being so spontaneous as we were before.
Yeah. And if you do locally based marketing, how do you grow, like right now, how do you translate, for example, the marketing that you do in Spain to other countries?
It's organic.
Organic in every country?
In every country besides Spain, yes.
Okay.
So Spain is our principal market. Our second market is Portugal, and then you go to Latin America. That also works very well. But basically, if we do an interview here on TV, sometimes it gets viral in Latin America too. So you kind of sell a lot there. And so right now we have some distributors in Latin America, and we send them FlamAids, and then they distribute inside the countries. That still works, but we are not doing ads everywhere. We are not doing marketing everywhere. We are mostly addressing the Spanish market and the Portuguese one.
Okay. So that was actually my next question. How do you sell? Like, if you sell internationally, is it, do you sell through your website and it's direct to consumer, or you sell through distributors?
So we are on retailers here in Spain and Portugal. That is pretty good because I feel like people like to see the product, touch it, understand how it works, how small it is. But our principal channel, it's always online. So our FlamAid.com webpage is the one that sells the most. It's also the one that gets you more margin.
Of course.
And then, we are a very digital-based product. That means that we talk a lot on Instagram and on TikTok and just facing the camera and explaining to people what we're doing at our office. We like it for it to be kind of rough and natural. Just like we are young people doing something that resonates with us. This is our purpose, and that's it. And then if a video goes viral, you can do ads with that video. Yeah. So it's the same concept, but you boost it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Actually, like, I'm going to stop for a second because I watched one of your reels and I found it super funny because there was someone in your office interviewing a guy and she was asking him, like, okay, I'm going to say words about women. You need to tell me whether if you know what I am referencing to. Yeah. He had no idea. Yeah. And I found it a very good way of, like, kind of giving exposure to women and like the importance that they have, and just like making it very visual about the fact that men don't know about a lot of what we go through, including security.
Exactly. That's our social media manager, and the guy is our principal engineer. So he's a great guy, and we were like, let's ask him some questions, like what are French nails, what
exactly.
are Californians, stuff like that. And then at the end, we like to do marketing in a like subtle way, so or not so subtle, because at the end she asked him like, and do you know what's FlamAid? And he was like, yeah, of course I know. FlamAid is this. Yeah. But yeah, we have a lot of fun. I have an amazing team, and I'm very, very grateful for them.
Yeah. It seems that social media has played a big role in growing your brand. How so? Like, how has it evolved since you started until now?
So I think, for example, if you were to talk about 2J's case, the jewelry brand, they were very smart because they had a personal brand and they capitalized on that personal brand to do the brand that they have right now. And for me, it was the other way around. I had no personal brand whatsoever. So I created FlamAid. And then I realized that I was the cheapest influencer ever because I was not getting paid. So I was like, oh my God, if I talk, it will feel very real because I really live for FlamAid and I really believe on what we do. But at the same time, it's basically free. So I just started doing that. And so my personal brand was born from FlamAid. And it's very tied to FlamAid because it's basically who I am. And I feel like my mission is in life is to protect women and empower them and having them not have to go through what I went through. So it just feels very genuine for me and very aligned with what I believe in. And my personal brand sells FlamAid and lets FlamAid be known. So until it stops working, I will keep doing it.
So when you say your personal brand, is it you being exposed within the FlamAid's business accounts, or you mean independently in your own LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok account?
I would say it's across all platforms. So I do
Okay.
show up in FlamAid accounts, but if you go to any of my accounts, LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok, which I still don't fully understand,
I know.
you know, my name in TikTok is Julieta Makes Grenades. So, you know, yeah, exactly.
It's quite cool though.
You know, so sometimes there's a selfie now and then, and some other projects. For example, now we have a lobby in Europe called Youth Agenda, and we just lobby for better opportunities for young people, and that shows up now and then. But the focus is always FlamAid.
Of course. And what have you seen that has helped you the most when it comes to growth? Has been ads, community, in-person events. What would be your recommendation?
So 2 things. First of all, and that might look unrelated, but it's actually very related, having friends in the ecosystem. So having friends in the ecosystem is amazing because those friends will teach you a lot, but they will also introduce you to the people that you need to reach out to. So that's great. Just building your networking face to face, amazing. And then I would say the other selling point that is more direct is press and TV. At FlamAid, we're lucky enough to have a narrative and to have a product that is very flashy, and people like to talk about it. So we have a lot of organic press and TV. We have never paid for any TV or press appearances, and that really gives you a boost every time you show up. And it helps you grow a brand, because when you get a brand to be known, it's very, very expensive, you know, but mostly B2C. B2B is a little different. So for us, it has been an amazing boost.
And do you have a PR team that reaches out to all these news outlets or TV, or is it mostly organic and they come to you?
We don't have a PR team.
No?
It's fully organic.
You never reach out to them?
No, that's my role now, actually. So it's the same thing as networking. When a journalist reach out, you talk to him, you do the interview, whatever, but you should keep him updated after, you know, like build a good relationship with them. So right now, when I have something coming up, a news that I want to let people know, a new feature, I text my journalist friends like, hey, this is happening. If you want the exclusive, let me know, because last time you were amazing and you treated us beautifully. So I would love to give you the exclusive. And right now, that's how we move the information.
Yeah, no, so smart.
Thank you.
So for other founders listening, considering that you are the brand of your brand, what is your most practical tip to be in social media and to grow and generate engagement with your audience?
Believe what you say. That's the first one. I don't think I'm a great seller, in the sense that if you were to put me in a car dealership, I wouldn't sell a single car, you know. I can sell FlamAid because I really believe in it. And the other thing is, right now our retention is getting down like crazy. People don't have time to watch a 3-minute video. They do have time to watch your podcast because it's great. But you know,
but 3 minutes, because your videos are 3 minutes long?
No. My videos are at most
less than a minute.
40 seconds.
40 seconds.
So be very concise, know what you're talking about and what's the point that you want to come across. And then, very important to me, who are you talking to? Because if you're talking to everyone, you will talk to anyone. You need to make the person that is listening to you resonate with. So I kind of visualize the people that I'm talking to. And I feel like it's girls my age that have the same problem, that want to feel safe. So it's like talking to a friend, like, listen, girls, I come up with this. It makes sense to me. Maybe it can help you too.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I try to do the same when I speak to talent that went through, you know, like trying to understand whether if they are going through the same things that I went through. And that's definitely a very good advice, because it's like, you don't have to pretend at all.
Exactly.
It's just what comes out naturally. The people that want to listen, perfect, and if not, they're not the right audience.
And you do it great. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we've talked about the business and how it grew, and also a little bit about this social media strategy. If you look at your dashboard today, what metrics matter to you more than revenue?
You know, there's a lot of metrics that are relevant right now. I would probably say customer acquisition cost. That's a very important one. So how much are you spending, not only economically, but also on intellectual resources for acquiring one single client? It should be as low as possible. You should not have to spend more than what your product is worth to sell that product, because otherwise there is no revenue, positive revenue coming in. And then at the same time, very important to me is the number of activations. When you get a FlamAid, how many times have you activated it? Why? How? Do you feel safer now having your FlamAid around? Were those activations successful? So basically user-based and also tech-based. I love to follow those.
No, that's amazing. So if you had to choose a North Star that is tied to your mission, would be activations of FlamAid.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's amazing.
Definitely. I don't want you to buy your FlamAid and keep it home. I want you to bring it around. And for me, the ideal is for you to never activate your FlamAid, but keep charging it. Because I know you're bringing it around, but you don't need to activate it. That is my favorite type of user because it means you're safe.
Yeah.
When you activate it, that's sad for me. And it's a little bit complicated to reach out to those people. We do so, but it feels like you're intruding in something that was sad and not a nice experience.
No, amazing. I love the concept of your favorite user. Okay, so let's get into how much capital you've needed to achieve what you have. Actually, we're just saying that you're currently raising around. How has it been for you as a woman, as a very young woman? We haven't said, by the way, that you were a dropout at university.
Yes.
Yeah, like how has it felt to be a very young woman raising capital for a problem that is very female oriented?
Well, I can say it has been hard. I guess that's like self-explanatory, but it has also been very interesting because I wouldn't change a thing about having started so soon, because if I were to start now, I probably would not start because I know that it is very difficult. But back then I didn't know. So if you don't know that it's almost impossible to raise money for a hardware product without having any background experience, without having anyone to vouch for you, you just do so because you don't know that it's impossible. So I think that ignorance can be a point in your favor sometimes.
Absolutely.
For me, not knowing how hard it is to raise money made me think, oh my God, I have to raise money. If everyone has done so, then I have to do so. Yeah. And right now, it kind of, I feel more unprepared than before because I know more. And I don't know that much, but I know more. And before, I didn't know shit. So it just felt so easy because you didn't know about the complications.
Yeah. So it seems that being young is something that you leveraged.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
It's not something that stopped you.
No, being young is a blessing. And being older too. Getting older is a blessing. But right now I make so many mistakes, and the cool thing is I raise my hand every time, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I'm learning. I'm very young. This is the first time that I've ever been in this situation. I'm sorry. And most people get it. Most people understand that you're on your learning curve, on your learning stage.
Absolutely.
And
everyone has been there.
Exactly. I also like to hire very young people. I hire mostly based on attitude rather than skills. I feel like skills are something that we can work on, but your attitude is something that shapes the person you are, and it shapes the energy in the room. So you can learn everything. You cannot learn attitude.
Yeah.
So I go for that. I love socially talented people.
Yeah. And you're building a company that has a very strong social impact mission. Did that help raise capital?
It depends on the investor you're asking.
Fair.
So, yes, it definitely helps when you have a narrative and a goal. It's not only, it makes sense for me to build like a fidget spinner because people like that and it's viral. No, it comes from a struggle. But also at the same time is a struggle that has an amazing TAM. When you look at the market size, well, 50% of the population are women. 1 on every 3 women have felt unsafe at night. So it also makes a lot of sense. The thing is, when I was talking to investors, I leveraged what happened as some kind of skill. And it kind of is because most investors ask you, why are you the person that should bring this project to light? And my answer there was very simple, which is I've gone through it. So I know how it feels like.
Yeah, what it feels and what it takes and what you need in a situation like that.
Exactly.
And something that I learned when I was studying this concept of tech for good and social impact in the business world is that a lot of investors, because they want results in the short term rather than in the long term, make sometimes founders feel a bit not uncomfortable, but they they put them in a position where they need to choose between doing the right thing in the long term or having to do something for these short-term profits that they're expecting. Have you found yourself in a situation where an investor pushed for scale and that meant having to change something about your product?
Yes, and the ones that pushed for scale with no regard for social impact are not my investors.
Not anymore.
No, they were never my investors to begin with.
Oh, okay.
So the first uncomfortable thing about raising money is having to ask for money. I hate asking for stuff. So having to sit in front of someone and being like, I really need your help. I need 200,000 euros. For me, that's kind of tough because I'm asking you for help and I'm asking you for something that is yours, and I don't like that feeling. But once you get past that, the other difficult thing is some investors looked at my product and they were like, okay, this makes a lot of sense, but let's make it unusable after the first use. So you can only activate that once and then it's broken. So people have to buy a new one each time they need help.
Okay.
And so
it's like tech one-on-one.
Exactly. Well, it's like programmed obsolescence.
Yeah.
It makes sense on the business side. It basically the way you're scaling completely changes and you scale much more exponentially. But for me, that's only smart on the short term, because not only is it very unethical, you're also breaking the trust of your client. Because I was only there for you once and that's it. And then if you need me again, you have to pay me. And if you don't pay, then I don't care about what happens to you. That does not resonate with me, not on the business side or the personal side. So I just said no to those investors. It goes both ways. The investor might say no to you and you also might say no.
Yeah.
You're getting married to someone for a short while, so you, or maybe a long while, it depends.
Yeah.
So you also have to be in touch with their values.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that your products, I mean, after all, you're receiving alerts from women that are in danger, potentially in danger. Has this been difficult to handle emotionally?
Definitely, because it's also difficult to handle when you sell this product, because most founders get very excited when they see, oh my God, we're selling so good today or this month, whatever. And for me, it's also like, you're buying because you have a problem. You don't feel safe, and that feels unfair to me. So it kind of goes both ways. At the same time, I'm very happy to be able to help you, but I wished you wouldn't need help in the first place. So I kind of feel like that's the irony of working in safety. But it's something that I'm willing to live with if that means we can help people.
No, of course. And has this made you be close to burnout?
Yeah, of course. I think we are all a little bit burnout. When you live, breathe, and feel your product and what you do, sometimes you go for lunch with friends or with family, and that's all you can think and talk about. And you get you get transformed into a one-dimensional individual, and you kind of forget who you are outside of your company. You're not just a grenade, or you're not just a mission, you're something else. And so sometimes I have to remind myself of that, like, let's go to the movies, let's read a book, like something that is not grenade based, but then then I go back to it, because I really think that founders have to be obsessive. Their personality has to also have some grade of obsession, because you will be very tied to what you do.
And do you feel that your personality, or like how you see yourself, is very tied to what you're building? Like, what would happen if FlamAid disappeared tomorrow? Like, how do you handle that relationship between what you're building and your baby, and how that defines who Julieta is?
Oh, that's such a complicated question. Very good. So there's two things. First, I think that my personality is very tied to my company, because for me it was very important for my values to also be in FlamAid, and for the culture of the company to reflect those values. But also, since I was so young when I founded FlamAid, and I'm still young,
You are.
I was 21, I feel like it was a very formative part of my life, and it still is. So I was shaped into my product and into my mission. So if FlamAid was to close tomorrow, I honestly don't know who I would be.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But yeah, I know what I believe in. I know what I like to do. I know what I don't like. But there's such a close part of my heart that is always with FlamAid, that I think this product and this project will always be with me, even if it doesn't work out in the long run.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you said you were 21 when you founded the company,
Yeah, that was
and
21.
you are
24.
24 now. You were saying earlier how your role now is more PR and giving visibility to the brand. But I assume that when you started, it was more strategic, and you were the founder and CEO of the company.
I'm still the founder and CEO, but at the beginning it was very hands-on. So the first grenades that we shipped, I built them with my hands. So that was a very strange time of my life, because I had to learn how to work with an electronic, check if it was working. We had the machines at the office, and we would pack the first ones and send the orders, bring them to correos. And so right now you have to learn to delegate, and so we have a team that does that. And I'm still on the strategic side, but I mostly handle investors relations, which brings money to the company that you need to. And then at the same time, press, PR, that's also something that I'm doing, because it's the cheapest person that can do it free. But yeah, sometimes I miss those days in the lab. That was very cool.
And how did it feel to have a more senior role with people that have more experience than you? The reason why I'm asking is just to understand, like, whether if there's any friction, because you cannot obviously hire people that are younger and have a lot of energy, but at some point you need people that have the seniority to help you reach the outcomes that you that you expect, or that the objectives that you put for yourself. So I just wonder, like, how would a 40-year-old take strategic decisions from a 24-year-old? Like, how do you manage it?
So, I think it depends on the type of leader that you are. In FlamAid, I would not hire anyone that I wouldn't be excited to work for. So if I hire you, it's because you have something that is clearly more worked on or better than what I have. So for instance, a technology partner, I'm hiring you because you're so much better than me at that. So I really take into mind the feedback and the way they want to work. Everyone has a lot of freedom. We all work with KPIs and weekly goals and monthly goals, but everyone has a lot of freedom. I have never had to scream or be aggressive or be mean to an employer. So I've never had that kind of friction going on. It happens more, I think, when you go to maybe events and you're the youngest founder. But with my team, I feel like my team protects me a lot. I feel like I protect them a lot. And we know
That's so sweet.
who is the expert on each area. So I won't teach my engineer how to work with his computer.
Yeah, that's so sweet. If you look back to when you started, what was a skill that you did not have? That you were like, fuck, I need to learn this ASAP if I want to succeed at being the founder of FlamAid.
Probably, handling human relationships in a correct way. I can be very spontaneous, and sometimes I need to reflect before saying something and before giving a feedback, because people really take feedbacks very seriously, especially when it's coming from the person that founded the project. So right now I feel like I really meditate before I say something, and I also feel like that was like a mistake typical of a young person, just saying whatever comes to mind. And so what I've learned the most is just like relax, take a deep breath, count until 10, and then talk, and then schedule the meeting. It has helped me a lot. The most important thing in entrepreneurship, from my perspective, is human relationships. So you really have to know how to handle them correctly, with respect, and with a lot of love.
Yeah. In entrepreneurship and in leadership,
Totally.
The role of a CEO, it's mostly managing relationships.
Totally.
And it's something that goes unsaid, or maybe it's less common knowledge from the outside, but it's literally like, how do you manage your team so that they do what you need them to do?
Totally. My work is basically handling people. There's a lot less, when hands-on work goes down, your political work goes up, and it goes the other way around too. So I feel like right now my role is mostly getting people motivated, making sure that they're doing what they're doing, and understanding if they're not doing what they're doing, why not? What is failing? What is making you unhappy so you cannot do your work? And it's my role to fix it. And also not be the neck bottle. The bottleneck? The bottleneck. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like my workers have to check on me before doing something, like, I have to do this project, but I want you to take a look first. If I trust in one of my workers, just do it. Just do it. That's fine. I trust you. You're the best at that.
Yeah.
And giving them a lot of freedom.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're getting to the end of the interview, and I always like to end with a bit of a look into the future.
Okay.
So, if FlamAid succeeded globally, what would that change for women in their daily lives?
You know, that makes me think, like, what would be the success of FlamAid? You know, because FlamAid's biggest success would be for it to close down because it's not needed. So that would mean women feel safe on the streets. They don't need any kind of gadgets. I would probably go back to college because I would not have a job, but I would be so happy about that.
Yeah.
Because it means my purpose is not necessary anymore. People feel safe, and that's it. But then if we were talking about what it would mean if everyone had a FlamAid in the world, I feel like maybe that would mean that we still have a big problem in society that we need to fix. And even though I would be much more richer and we would be having this conversation from a yacht, I think I would be very unhappy as well.
That's a very good point, because the success of your company means that the world is not getting any better at solving the problem that you are putting a patch to, because you're not really solving the problem. You're not solving the systemic problem. You're helping women maneuver this problem.
Yeah, definitely. I do think a lot, for example, about Palantir. Have you heard about that startup?
Yeah.
Well,
Company.
it's a big company.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest ones right now. I feel like FlamAid, it kind of has the same goal, but it approaches it so differently. Palantir has eyes on you at all times. FlamAid only knows your location, where you are, when you pull, when you ask for help. So I feel like if FlamAid was to really work 10 years from now, it would probably be a solution inside a dystopic world and also kind of a social movement. I would like to see that.
That would be the ideal world. So, as a last question, a lot of people that listen to this podcast is because they feel this lack of meaning or lack of purpose in the jobs that they do. What would you tell them if they are sort of ready to either jump to another company or to found their own company, but they are maybe stopped by fear of this unknown? You were telling me earlier about how you made the decision of starting and quitting your university. What is something that you would recommend them to follow this instinct or intuition that will actually lead them, hopefully, to the path that they deserve?
So, first of all, if you have a mission, go for it. If you have a purpose, go for it. If you don't have one, find it. That's the most important thing. And then you can align all your life towards that mission or purpose. And you talked about fear. I think that's very relevant because our mission in FlamAid and our slogan is fuck fear. So that's what I could say. Fuck fear. Do it. Just do it. And if it goes wrong, we will rebuild from there. But don't be stuck at something that makes you unhappy, because we only live once. And I would rather regret making a mistake than regretting not having tried. Yeah, exactly. So fuck fear. That's it.
Fuck fear. I love it. I've loved the conversation, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Glo.